Hello, good morning, Cosmic Hitchhikers. How's everything? Did you survive the lunar eclipse, full moon, lunar eclipse, blood moon in Scorpio? Meant to be intense. Have a kind of a purging characteristic to it. And especially because it's where the South node is about letting go, is about becoming very, very aware of what's toxic in your life, of what's not really working, of what's kind of holding you behind. I personally got some triggers, some old triggers, and I tend to think that these triggers it really is like a kind of a muscle, like working on a muscle. Becoming aware of something doesn't mean that we can straight away move it or change it, but every time it becomes easier for us to spot something, to see it, and 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 as we kind of detach it or let it go of our lives, it's sort of, I think it is through that process of seeing it again and again and again, and seeing from various different perspectives, um and as we get to see it, we realize really deeply how much that doesn't fit in, how much that doesn't work. Anyhow, I really want to keep this video a bit more compact compared to the one last week that was almost 20 minutes because it was such a busy week. I hope you had a transformative time. I hope you looked after yourself very well. And in the meantime, let me see if I have my, yeah. So let's look at what's going on for next week, which is classic. I'm beginning to analyze and write out my dissertation. So I think I'm good with the timings, even though the crazy astrology keeps moving and moving. So there we go, 17th of May, Tuesday. And I think there's especially two things that are happening kind of at the same time. So Mercury here is still retro. The moon has moved to Sag, so it's moved on from Scorpio. But what I really find interesting is when the sun ingresses into Gemini. So sun will ingress in Gemini on the 21st of May, 2022, which is Saturday, so next Saturday. And the moon will be in Aquarius as well. So we have a kind of a shift into air signs. The luminaries moving into air signs, but also the sun, Mercury going into the heart of the sun. So Mercury retrograde will be, you see, on the 22nd of May, the sun has already moved and Mercury has already moved to 0. So between the 21st and the 22nd, Mercury will be conjoined the sun by retrograde. And the moon will be in Aquarius coming up to conjoin Saturn as well on the 22nd. So for me, the 21st and 22nd are the dates for this week to keep an eye on, because I think a lot of dissection and understanding and integrating and etc. and seeing what happened during this eclipse, because remember that Saturn was a T-square with a lunar eclipse, and a lot of the detachment, the perspective, and etc. was symbolized by that Saturn. Obstacles as well, all the classics that Saturn represents too, but something about perspective, because we're talking about air signs, we're talking about the capacity to deal with complex ideas and with the detached perspective and vision as well. So that moon conjoining that Saturn could be carrying something from what happened in all the drama and give us further understanding. And as is the moon, we're going to be a little bit more emotionally detached from the situation. Yeah. And that Mercury in the heart of the sun, and even the sun moving into Gemini as well, and us being able to dissect information and want to know what was going on and what's happening, and be further in the path of knowing what to communicate. But remember, not just yet, because Mercury would still be retrograde for another week. On the 23rd of May, Mercury will pop back to Taurus, So again, still having that feeling that more understanding will come from the situation, from that lunar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse that connects to November 2021, because that's where an eclipse at 27 degrees Taurus happened. So something about that. We're still, I love to see astrology as detective work, with like gathering all of these different clues and seeing our process from different perspectives as well. It's like a puppet show, not a bad way, but that we get to see things from so many different perspectives before we can move it, before we can change it, before we can make it more empowered for ourselves, before we can express it in a more creative way. We get to see it in various different ways. So this week, a lot about integrating, understanding, looking into what happened and what's happening as well, and getting ready as well for Mars to move on into Aries, which is not going to happen until next week. So next week we'll be talking about that. So that's it, folks. A lot of journaling, a lot of writing down, a lot of writing letters that we're not going to send, but to understand it further. Yeah, get that 21st, 22nd of May to really try and have insights into our situations. So yeah, wishing you a wonderful week, wonderful astrological week. It's very hot in Athens. Yeah, so I'm gonna navigate the heat and write my dissertation. And please write comments, subscribe, send messages there. I love to see what your process is about, because I love to see the personal process in relation to astrology. All right, a wonderful week, lots of love to you all, and I'll see you next week.